Hey everybody, my name is Douglas, and for those of you who are new to our channel, my wife and I quit our jobs, moved out of the US about 2.5 years ago, and came to Baja, Mexico, Baja California Sur to be specific, where we ended up buying a piece of property and building our house that we live in, which I'm sitting right in front of now, and our resort called Pufferfish Villas. So we just passed our 1 year anniversary. We have been welcoming guests at our two villas for the past year, and we have a full set of amenities with a pool area and cabanas and everything you could want here to really make your time here in Loreto, Mexico very special. So today we are going to answer one of the biggest questions that we get from almost everybody we meet, and that is, how are you guys doing? How is Pufferfish Villas doing? So today, I'm going to lay everything out for you. We're going to show you a bunch of the upgrades we have made since we opened, and we're also going to tell you about what's going to happen in the future. So now let's take a look at our occupancy rate. This is our property management software, Logify, which we use, and it can get us all the data on all of our rentals that we've done because everything has gone through this software. So the first thing I'm going to look at is our occupancy rate for the entire year of 2024. If you look at this, we are at a 55% occupancy rate for 2024. Now, keep in mind that we still have 2 months to go, and we will add a few rentals to this possibly, and this may go up over 55%, but I don't expect it to go up dramatically, maybe 56, 57%. That's our entire first year really of operations since we started in November of 2023. So let's look at our first high season. So we will go back to November 1st of 2023, and then we'll go to April 1st. This is our high season. So our first high season, we had a 60% occupancy rate. And you can see that here in the beginning of the season, it was still a little slow starting. We had a lot of periods where we didn't have any rentals. Now let's compare that to this year's high season. So if we go to November 1st of 2024, and we go to April 1st of 2025, this is our high season for this year. Keep in mind, we're just in the beginning of this season. It is only November right now. So we expect to improve this 82% occupancy quite a bit because we're going to fill in a lot of these unrented nights. But right now it's 82%. I would expect that that's going to go up to 90% or more. But let's conservatively say 90%. So that means year over year, for our high season, our occupancy rate increased from 60% to 90%. So that is a significant increase. And if we use that to forecast next year's total year 2025 rates, we can get a good forecast of what we expect for next year. So now we're going to take a look at the occupancy rate for the year of 2025, and it looks horrible right now, 27%. That's because we haven't booked any of next high season, and we still expect quite a bit of the first half of the year to fill up as we get closer to into that period. But if we look at the 55% we had in 2024, which we expect will probably go up a little bit, but let's just stick with the 55%. And then we go with the same amount of increase that we saw in our high season, we are projecting 82.5% in our occupancy rate in our 2025 full year. So that would be a significant improvement from 55 to 82.5% occupancy rate. And all of these projections are right about what we had estimated when we started up. So everything is tracking very well to our projections. As you can see, mostly because of our YouTube channel, we had a very, very good first year running our business because we had a lot of interest from people on our channel and we were able to turn that into rentals. We also are on track to increase our occupancy dramatically this year, and that tells us that we need more villas to rent. We hear it all the time that people wanted to come and rent here, but they went to look at our calendar and it's completely full. So I believe that going in the future, once we get to the point that we can afford to build 3 more villas, we'll easily be able to rent all 5 villas and still keep a very high occupancy rate. So what is the plan for the future here? Our income right now covers all of our personal living expenses and gives us enough money to save for the next phase of development, building 3 more rentals. And once that's done, then we can use that income to save to build our house finally, because we live in our garage right now. What improvements have we made at Pufferfish Villas since we opened, and what's our plans for the future? Well, let's talk about the improvements first. When we started this business, our goal from the beginning was that we would be continually improving the property. We've had many, many guests say this place is way, way better than it looks in the pictures. And that isn't because we have crappy pictures. We have really nice pictures and they show the place, but it's hard to capture everything. And people, when they get here, really do think that it's a better product than is advertised. And that's exactly what we want. And so we're committed to keeping it that better product. We're committed to keeping everything looking new and being fresh, so every guest feels like they're the first guest that's ever stayed at our property. And we're going to continue that in the future. And one of the parts of doing that also is to make continual improvements to the property. Even if it's just adding little things here and there, they all add up and make a much better guest experience. So let's take a look at some of the things we've done in the last year to improve Pufferfish Villas. So now that we've been operating for a year, I wanted to show you some of the upgrades and changes we've made since we started, and we'll talk about why and things that we would do the same, things I wouldn't do the same. All right, we'll just start right here in the kitchen where I am. Now these tables that we got, we thought they were a great deal and they'd be super durable because they're made out of steel plate. And there's a steel plate bottom and a steel plate top. And we thought, okay, it's about the right size and this steel plate is going to be super durable, which probably it is. The problem is the finish that they put on it. They put a powder coat finish on it and it is very rough powder coat. And the problem with that is it's very difficult to clean this thing, and it picks up swirl marks and different stuff from the cleaning. And so over time, this surface does not look that great. So what are we going to do about it? They don't look too bad, but I don't like the little amount of swirls. The other villa actually has more swirls in the tabletop. I think eventually we are going to paint the top of these and try to smooth them out and get a smooth coat on them. So they'll probably I'll probably sand them down to smooth flat and then we'll paint them. Now, paint is nowhere near as durable as powder coat, so I don't want to do that until I have to. The other possibility might be to have a piece of glass made the same size as the top of the table, paint the table to get a nice looking finish on it. Maybe you could even put some kind of design or something in the paint, and then put the glass on to protect the paint. That's another option. I think that's probably going to be the best long-term durable option, But other than that, these tables are a good size. They're very durable. They'll probably last literally forever because it would be impossible to destroy them as long as we can get a nice finish on the top. Okay, I'm looking around because I thought of a couple things, but I'm going to go through and think of anything else that we might have changed. Now, we changed out the Keurigs from the original Keurigs that we had. Originally, we just had a Keurig that was just the K-cup style. We added the coffee pot version. So this is a version that has both. I would say, honestly, people like to use the coffee pot more than the Keurig. So the reason might be our demographic. Most of our guests are over 55 and they're probably used to a coffee pot. They're going to want more than one cup of coffee, and so they use the coffee pot. Even though we have complimentary K-cups available for all of our guests, but you know, if that's what they like, that's perfect. That's why we switched over to where we have both options, so the guests can just use whatever they're most comfortable with. We did lose one knife. I've never been able to tell where this knife went. Hopefully nothing nefarious happened with that knife because it just disappeared when rental. The refrigerators have been pretty good. Now this is Mabe. This is a Mexican brand appliance. So they're very inexpensive and they're supposed to be pretty good quality. As far as operation, we haven't had any problems. It's been keeping everything cold and pretty easy to clean. This one broke off the controller to control the temperature and it totally broke, so I couldn't put it back on. Not a big deal because we just have it set at, you know, like a decent temperature and it doesn't really need to be changed anyways, but that's one thing that broke that we probably could get replaced, but I would have to take it apart because the stem that the knob goes onto broke and went up inside. So I would have to take the whole top of the refrigerator apart to get up in there, and it's not worth it. The only other thing I do not like about these refrigerators is that there's wavies. I don't know if you can see the wavies along here in the panel. And that is kind of a give and take because these are no fingerprint panels. What they are is plastic. This is a plastic that looks like stainless steel, and then it is super easy to clean and it does not get any fingerprints, hardly anything, but it's not like it has some wavies in it, especially around the edges where it mounts in. It's had this from the beginning. I think it's worth it to put up with the waviness of the panels to get something that's super easy to clean and doesn't get a lot of fingerprints so it doesn't look dirty. We have a fridge which is a Whirlpool fridge, which is a similar design with the handle, and you end up touching here a lot, you end up touching here a lot and here a lot when you pull the door open, and ours is stainless steel and it looks horrible all the time. I can clean it and it seems like a half hour later and nobody's even touched it. It looks horrible. I mean, probably not, but it looks horrible all the time because it's always got fingerprints. So this is definitely worth it. Water, this is another thing that's kind of a continuous maintenance issue because you have to change these out, and sometimes guests change them out themselves, sometimes we change them out, but we need a clean water supply. You could do a whole building water purifier, but myself, I don't really like the taste of fully purified water that doesn't have any minerals in it, which is what most of the purifiers do. And the other thing is those purifiers need to be maintained very, very regularly, like monthly. Most people put them in, they leave them for 6 months or a year, and our mother-in-law actually had one, and you pull it open and it is black sludge in there after you leave it for that long. And that's like black mold. It's this black slimy mold stuff in the filters. So if you do have those, they require a lot of maintenance, and I just don't want to have to deal with that. This system, there's no worries that you're getting dirty or water that's gone through a sludgy filter because the water is purified. So this is very clean water. It tastes good, and you can just look here and see that it's clean. So over here, what did we change? Well, one thing we changed is we put a Wi-Fi plaque in here. We have all the Wi-Fi information in our book, but sometimes people get here, they're really excited, they don't look at the book, and they end up contacting us and asking us, what's the Wi-Fi password? So we decided to put a plaque in here, and we just bought one on Amazon, and then we printed out the Wi-Fi information, put it on there, works like that. Now, another thing that in the living room here is that we had a real plant here in the corner. Do not put real plants in your Airbnbs, because especially if you have longer stays, we do have some stays that are 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even up to 4 weeks. And then you're in this thing like, are you going to bug the people and ask them to water the plant for you? You obviously can't go into your rental when people are staying there to go water the plant. I mean, I guess you could ask them and go in there, but we don't like to intrude on our guests when they're here. So we had live plants in these inside the villas. It did not go good. They both ended up looking super sickly and dying. So we went to artificial plants only. We have one here, and we have a giant birds of paradise in there. They look good, and we don't have to do anything except dust them. All the furniture has been great. This furniture is a year old, and it literally looks like as nice as the day we put it in. So we did not buy inexpensive furniture. We bought high-end furniture because that's the way we wanted to try to do to see if it would last a long time. We're really happy with it so far that it looks like brand new after a year of use. So hopefully we'll get many, many more years out of this furniture. And that's good because furniture is a big expense. I think this love seat was like $800. And that was half off. So, you know, if it can last 3 or 4 more years than a cheap one would last, then that's great. And it's great that guests come, and even though we've been in operation for a year, this really feels like it was just built yesterday. It feels like it's brand new in here. Now, another thing that we might change soon is the guest book. There's just a cover, and the reason being is it literally says Pufferfish Villas on here somewhere, and this one, I cannot even read it anymore. There it is. If you get way down, you can see it. But from up here, you can't even see it. So a lot of people, I think, don't even know what this book is. They might think, what is this book on the table? And so I think we know there's people that have come in and not opened it, and then they call us and ask us all this information. Because in the book, we have literally everything about our rental, about how to use a TV, about all the rooms, everything in them, taxis, bikes, getting Pufferfish Villas shirts, and then renting a golf cart, our YouTube channel. Then we have Leo and Sugars in there, and then all the things, places to go, things to do, beaches. We've got tons of information on other beaches, places to eat, all the best restaurants in town. So we have a ton of information for our guests in the guest book. We might just need a better cover or to modify this cover so it's easier for the guests to see that this is a guest book. So another thing that's been an issue has been the carbon monoxide and fire detectors. We do have them in both villas, and they do need to be cleaned. We clean them about once a month. If you leave them for too long, especially in this dusty environment, they will build up dust on the sensor, and then they start going off in the middle of the night. And it is not a good thing in a rental when your guests are calling you because the fire detector is going off in the middle of the night. So that's one thing we didn't think of, but those do have to be cleaned here on a regular basis. just like the air conditioners have to be cleaned on a very regular basis. In the bedroom here, one other change that I made is this light. Now this light was located over here because it plugs into the power station that we have on the desk. But the problem was, you open this window, and when you do that, if the wind blows, it catches this curtain, and then the curtain would fly out and knock the light off the table. I know this happened several times when I was in here, and I know it happened when guests were in here, and the light has even been damaged, that the cord's been pulled out a little bit. So to fix this, I actually drilled a little hole so that the cord can go down and look nice and then come back up under here. And now the light is here and it works perfectly. And it won't get blown off because the wind doesn't blow on this side of the window because this is a solid pane. So that's a fix we had to make, and it's something you would never expect. I mean, would you think that the wind's gonna blow through the window and blow the curtain and knock the light off all the time? Other than that, things have been pretty smooth and nice in here. We did have to replace batteries on our safe. When we first started, we did have hangers. We did not have this hanging thing for your shoes or cubbies for anything else you want. So that's all in there now in the closets. And then we also have an iron and an ironing board in here in a bag. So you get everything you need there in the closets. And we also added the luggage racks. You know, we did have a problem with people putting luggage on the beds. I talked about this in another video. That's one reason we do this arrangement of putting the throw blanket over the bottom of the bed. So hopefully if people do it, they put it on the throw blanket, because the dirty wheels are very hard to get off of the duvet cover. Everything here has been pretty smooth. We did change the soap containers. They had different labels on them, and the labels actually rubbed off. They were printable labels, and we had printed them. They rubbed off. Esperanza was able to find these pre-printed labels that do a much better job, and they stay on there. So, and this is especially in the shower here where we had these, they were getting rubbed off. We added these hooks into the showers. These are great for hanging up your wet clothes and your swimsuits after you use them, and then they can just drip right into the shower. We did have to replace the shower valve in this. You can see that in another video. We also added the handheld shower because that's just nicer, that you can use that. And if you're sitting on the bench, you can use that sitting on the bench. Another thing we added in here was the grab bars. So when you step into the shower, you can grab onto the grab bars. We also glued down this little plant here because we actually had a couple people knock it off. And our first guest in this villa actually broke this, which was our fault because, I mean, thinking that you could put this up here and it wouldn't fall off and break is kind of stupid. So no worries to Ed, our first guest in this villa. You're awesome, Ed. And he's been actually back again since then. He used to be our neighbor in Southern California, so we love Ed. We also changed out all the hooks in here. We had some really awesome decorative hooks. These ones were whale tails, and then there were ones over on this side that were like, you know, the hooks to hook up the ropes on boats. Those caused rust marks on the towels, so we had to replace them. Out here in the front of the villas, probably wouldn't change anything. Everything is going pretty smooth. It is work to keep the cushions clean and to keep this, because you collects dust. Cats do get up there and jump on it and lay on it. So there's nothing we can do about that. We just have to clean it every day and maintain it. Our plants out here are doing fantastic. This is a real live plant. And dragon palm, I think they call that. They're doing fantastic. Here is another dragon palm that was inside, and you can see all three or two of these died. The other one, all three of them died. And this one we brought out here and out here where I can maintain it and get some water to it regularly. This is recovering greatly. This stalk is recovering, and this stalk, which totally broke off and I thought was done for, is recovering. Look at all the little buds on there. So we're going to bring this one back to life. The other one is coming back to life too. So we're going to save these plants that we had inside, and they died because they weren't getting the water that they needed inside, and probably not the light either. Other than that, the only other thing that on the front here that I don't know if I would change, because I don't know what I would change to. It's the same problem as inside. These is steel furniture, super durable. We thought it was going to be super durable and all that, which it is, but it's powder coated and it picks up stains and you cannot get these off. But this seems to be the issue with the powder coated steel furniture, that you have this all the time. You know, all of our powder coated furniture has the same problem, that it stains easily. So not sure what you can do about that except going to a different type of furniture. And here you'll see again, powder coated tables, stains all over them. Those are all clean, but the powder coating does not hold up super well. Now out here, the other thing that I wish was different is these chairs. The chlorine does discolor the chairs, the fabric on it. This is after a year. So I don't like the way these chairs look. They are still in good shape. The fabric isn't ripped or torn or anything like that. So it's kind of like, I don't want to change it because they're not ripped or torn, but I also don't like the way they look. So we might get them redone, probably not till next year if we do. Now, the umbrellas was another thing. You probably saw in a previous episode, we had to swap out the umbrellas. The first ones we got were cheap umbrellas, just nylon fabric. It faded out really bad in 1 year. We upgraded to what's called Terry Last fabric, and it's a different type of very durable fabric like Sunbrella. I think these have a 10-year warranty against fading. So we will see. They've only been up here a couple months. They actually look beautiful for a couple months. So hopefully they will not fade, and we'll have these umbrellas for a long time. Other things we added out here, we put a cover on the handrail because it does get really hot in the middle of the summer in the sun. Out here, we've also made some other changes. We've added quite a bit of stuff out here. So we added these swing chairs. They're fantastic, and that's my favorite place to sit out here. They're really comfortable. So we got the cushions after we opened. We've added some pillows. The pillows are really nice because it gives people something so they can lay down out here. We have people laying down taking naps out here all the time. We added some blow-up toys that our guests love to use here, and so we've got all that. And we got some nice big garbage cans that we didn't have when we first started. We added the shower and the foot wash in out here, and that has been a great addition. People use the foot wash all the time. And of course, all the plants have been just growing up like crazy. If you saw this when we first started, you were looking at a bare wall over here. So it's really nice to have all the plants here. And I mean, like this pygmy date palm here has grown up fantastic next to the pool. Everything is filling in. And then our newest addition out here, Neon Leo. You can see Neon Leo here. You can take your selfies with Neon Leo, and this has been a really cool addition here too. So in closing, I would say this experience has gone way better than I expected it would. So if you've ever been thinking of just making a big change and following your dreams, I would suggest give it a try, because we did and it worked out fantastic. Thanks everybody for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you're new and you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button below. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And never forget to live before you die.